A lot of people don't want to hear this, but don't get distracted. Don't get distracted. Kamala Harris is not what we're looking for. I know Joe Biden just stepped down and named Kamala Harris as his replacement and everybody's going crazy, but y'all gotta stop accepting representation and access as transformation. That is not what we're looking for. If you've read The New Jim Crow and you understand what Michelle Alexander was talking about, you have to also understand that she's talking about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the prosecutor on the other side of her defense work at that time. So if you understand what Michelle Alexander is doing in The New Jim Crow, then you also have to understand that Kamala Harris is the prosecutor she's partly writing about. One of the reasons I know black people have power is because they will use blackness as a distraction. And because blackness is so inextricably associated with subjugation and oppression, elevating blackness to a position of access and representation gives the impression of progress. And that's what they're relying on, the impression. Kamala Harris is not different from the status quo. Kamala Harris has embraced the status quo because it has afforded her particularly a level of access. Black folks, like everybody else in the Western Hemisphere and everybody else who has absorbed and been socialized into propaganda by the empire, by the Western elites, are subjected to the same messaging. And unless they put forth intentional, deliberate, sustained effort to understand how oppression and subjugation and power allocation works in our society, they are susceptible to perpetrating some of the same harms. We cannot think that merely having black skin or merely being a woman or merely being an immigrant or merely being disabled are enough to get us to liberation. It's not. It's not. I wish her blackness meant something about her politics, but everything I've seen from her says it does not. She continuously uses blackness as an aesthetic merely to pander to votes. But nothing about her politics, not when she was DA, not when she was a senator, none of the things about her politics suggest that she is in favor of liberation in any way. We cannot get distracted. She is not what we are checking for. We have got to stop accepting access in lieu of transformation. We have got to stop accepting representation as progress. It is not. We want substantive, fundamental change. We don't want the oppression to look different. We don't want the oppression to have a different gender. We don't want the oppression to be from a different country. We don't want the oppression to have differently abled abilities. We want different substantive differences. And Kamala Harris is not a substantive difference. If she was, they wouldn't have picked her for the VP position in the first place. Don't get distracted. They asked Thurgood Marshall this shit. When they asked him what he thought about Clarence Thomas joining the court, he said it don't matter if a snake is white or black, it's gonna bite you. We expect more from our systems, our institutions, our world. We're striving for more. We have to expect more from ourselves. We have got to be better.